I didn't know this. Ugh, is there better lighting? Camera angle sucks. Whatever. But so many people are actually homeless. It turns out, even if a person steals and starts squatting at that location or robbing somebody or something, I've seen squatters who live in very nice houses and they've convinced everyone that they're not squatters, and or people around them, they legally purchased the property and they didn't rob somebody. Or they didn't kill the person who lived there and started living there and try to hide the evidence. Yeah, I don't know. And I have a feeling all the serial killers that didn't get caught until like 50 people were, 50 innocent people were like just murdered. Pretty sure some people paid that guy to go ahead and kill those people so that they can say, you mess with me, then your things you love is gonna die. And I'm like, that's... I'm sorry, but that is specifically a white person bullshit. Like, that's literally white people bullshit right there. I've never seen any other race afflicted by this other than the white people. White people bullshit. You mess with me, you die. And it's always, it doesn't even matter if they're in the wrong or if they're in the right. It doesn't matter at all. To them, it's like, don't tell me what to do in my life. You have no authority over me. Only I can have authority over you. And it doesn't even matter if I'm wrong, because you said that kind of stuff and I don't feel comfortable with what's going on. You're gonna have to, you know, understand that you can't do those things to me. I'm very scared. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't... Yeah, they've been sending, like, they think I'm scared of them, and I'm like, I'm not really scared of you. Like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to say. Just like, But regardless, yeah, a lot of people, like, it's been reported in Canada with the natives and selling the land and everything. They don't have legal precedence over any of the properties and the real estate stuff in America. Kind of, I gotta be honest, the reason why in Canada it's kind of like, this is a downside of living here, is that it affects literally no one. They're not important considering the global economic scale, right? So, like, honestly, you can do whatever you want in Canada. No one's really gonna care. No one cares about this country. Literally, like, even the Canadians that live here don't care about it because they think if they act like everyone else in the world, then they'll be just like them, right? They'll start to care about them because if they're acting like them, then that means that person will think, oh, you're just like me because you're acting like me, so let's just be friends. Very, very stupid. But yeah, some of them have, like, stolen land from the natives in America, and they thought that that would translate to actually being a legal owner of the property. Now, again, the property divisions and the owning of property isn't just so, like, isn't like okay, I want to live here now, so I'm living here. It's not really like that at all. Like, I don't know. But anyway, it was illegal, so, like, I was, like, wondering why so many of them are, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And now they're, like, portraying homeless people in a bad light, right? Because not everybody who's homeless and who... Well, every squatter is pretty much a piece of shit. I get that. But every person who's homeless, right, isn't actually, like, a piece of shit, okay? Like, there's a lot of homeless people who aren't like that, who actually want to get out of homelessness and are willing to work towards that home-owning goal in their life, right? But, like, a lot of people aren't. Like, a lot of people are like that, and a lot of them are immigrants from different countries. Again, why there's a whole xenophobia thing comes in, and people don't like immigrants, and they think, like, foreigners are like that because so many of them were like that. So I get that, like, where all of that kind of prejudice and discrimination and the stereotyping comes from. And yeah, it's very frustrating as a person who's not like that to experience that, because to me personally, I've met so many immigrants who weren't like that, versus there was very few percentage of the population who were like that. And even if they were, like, there's a lot of people who aren't even immigrants who are like that too. So, like, they completely avoid that detail, right? Like, as if those people who aren't immigrants, they're not, like, people who aren't immigrants who are like that, they're excusable. But the people who are immigrants who are like that isn't excusable. And also, unfortunately, immigration laws don't work as the way people think it does. As in, you can't just kind of force your way in there and then expect that like, yeah, I live here now. I'm a citizen here, legal citizen, and I'm like, yeah, that's not kind of how things work. But like some people like to do that way. Yeah, they like that's where the whole delusional schizophrenia and psychosis comes in, when they convince of themselves of the lies that they're telling themselves are true, and everyone else is responding the way they think they're responding, and in reality they're not responding that way at all. Again, not everybody, and I think that's why so many people who live in Canada are crazy, and this whole widespread mental health issue and concerns, and it's starting to affect their biological health with the obesity in America and everything. Because they have yet to realize this, or they refuse to acknowledge this fact that they're not actually legally have any legal precedence over this country, and they're not actually allowed to stay here. And they've been told by the Native Americans repeatedly that they can't stay here, especially since they're like stealing from them and ruining their country. Like, I think that's what they're doing. They're like forcing themselves to be miserable here by ruining things and littering and polluting everywhere. And then, like, it's affecting them too, so they're like, yeah, it affects me too, so, like, you can't say anything. And I'm like, what? Yeah, they're, like, ruining themselves in their life in hopes of ruining other people. Or at least damaging other people. It's like, if this was a Pokemon move, it would be like, that, you know, the Pokemon, and it's, like, self-destruct, and it's like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And it's like, oh, if you self-destruct, it's dead, but it also damaged the other party. And I was like, it doesn't work for the legendaries and like very well trained Pokemon, but with the weak ones, then yeah, it's pretty effective. But yeah, also I was like wondering what the yellow stuff in my dream meant. I love yellow as a color, by the way. That was my color when I was like younger, and I was like, I love yellow as a color. Like those pale pastel yellows, and the yellows I see on daisies, and the yellows I see on daffodils. I really liked it. And like bumblebee yellows and stuff. Also, I thought like when I was younger, bumblebees were really cute, and they're like bzzz, and they're really fat and fuzzy, and it's like hovering everywhere, and I was like, oh, so cute. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I was like, what does yellow mean? It means coward. They're very cowardly, and I've seen green tints in my dreams, and I don't know what that means. So I'm starting to suspect it has something to do with a personality trait. There was purples in my dreams, and there were reds in my dreams, but I don't know what those means either. And blues too, but I think, I don't know if it has anything to do with personality traits or anything. Blue is, I don't know, what is blue associated with? Death? No. White is associated with death. Actually, traditionally, white is a harbinger of death. And black was associated with absence, or like kind of like a neutral thing, yeah. And a lot of, I don't know why Britain purple is considered a royal color. I don't think so. But I think that was their way of saying that, like, oh, in England, this is a royalty, like, this is a level of royalty, like, this is how our royals are like in England. Not that it is. Often red's associated with violence and anger, but I think red is actually associated with death. To me, like, when I think about red, I think about death. And also, it's like something people shouldn't be looking at. You know what I mean? It's like anything that's red, naturally red in the wild, and like there's no actually red animals. There's no red bugs. I mean, there's fire ants, but they're like a very odd shade of brown, like it's almost like maroon colored. I don't know. I guess it's a shade of red. I mean, I don't think it's that red. Typically red is associated with blood, and people aren't supposed to see things bleeding. I mean, it's a bad sign, honestly, if people are bleeding. And what else? Color theory. Green is associated with sickness, and green is also associated with money, and green is also associated with spring, with renewals. So there's that. Gray is associated with, I think, sickness and environment, or And brown, I think, is associated with, well, I think it's supposed to be a rich color, but a lot of people associate the color brown with shit. But leather is brown. And what else is brown? Dirt. Without dirt, you can't grow anything. What else is brown? Tree bark. Trees are brown. Maple syrup's brown. People have brown eyes. People have brown hair. Those things are brown. Those are, I think, probably, like, I think brown is supposed to be a natural color. That's why it's a whole rich thing, with the richness of brown, the richness of mahogany and your chestnut and cherry wood office materials or furniture or whatever. Yeah, that's what that, like, the richness thing comes from. It's like deep, and it's like the color is like it like absorbs most of the light, and you can see all the details in it. And it has that scent, like the unmistakable scent and the feel and the worn down of actual wood materials. I think that's the whole richness thing of that too. So brown is associated with wealthy things, typically. Pink, I think, is associated with, I don't think it's a good color. I don't know why it's associated with girls in America, but or white European Americans associate pink with women or girls, but pink is actually like, also I imagine it to be in debt, but like not in debt as in like they owe significant amounts of material wealth to somebody. In debt as in like they're kind of like, they have to apologize and admit a lot of things that they've done and have to do a lot of that social work, that kind of thing. That's the pink. Like kind of trivial work that people shouldn't have to do, but now they have to do because of some stupid thing they did in the past. Like I said something, like I told everyone I knew my best friend's bank account information. I went online and posted it online everywhere, and people just started stealing from her using her identity, and now she has poor credit rating, and she has to file a credit card fraud and go through all the legal proceedings. Yeah, that's called somebody who's wearing pink, like this magenta color. Not the friend who got her information stolen by her friend. Like the person who did that would be wearing that magenta color. Oh, orange is associated with, to me, it's shit. To me, like, if I see somebody in an orange room, I know that they're not gonna do well. It's not gonna end well. And honestly, I kind of feel bad because I understand they have gone through things in their childhood that may have affected their judgment, but at the end of the day, it doesn't excuse it. And they knew what they were doing wasn't okay, but they thought that it was okay because something like that happened to them, so somebody else has to experience it just like them, and they don't care about that person anyway. But like, why do they have to? They think they believe in this thing called the victimless crime. So those are the people in orange rooms, and I don't really like them. Yeah. And then there's a brown, like, tan colored rooms. I still only saw it once, and it was like somebody who didn't have a right or authority over what they were saying and doing just because it was somebody else's stuff. But yeah. But then they like try to convince everyone that it's my watch. Why would you open that? It's not. Is that your clothes?
No, I'm just.
So why would you open it?
I just want to check is there any people watching.
Yeah, obviously the machine's going, so
no,
somebody put it in there.
Stop, just let it.
Maybe you know, if you know the machine's going, then don't open it.
I
because
never
it's
know.
not
Respectful,
yours.
please.
Jeez. Like she's very scared of me. I have no idea why. But yeah, with the tan colored rooms, like, it's like people who borrow my things or steal my things without me knowing about it, and then try to tell me that it's their things, and they're like, no, you can't use them anymore. I'm just like, what? Like, it's mental illness, okay? People who are severely mentally ill are in that tan colored rooms. They also sit on picnic benches or picnic tables. Yeah, they're like, their table of values is equivalent to a picnic table, which is very public. Everyone can use it. A lot of people don't. I mean, if they have their own backyard barbecue and grill, why would they? Right? And most of the time it's like for camping. right? And like, or like you're having a nice outing in the park with like your family members or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I guess. I didn't know there was a bunch of people who were intentionally like telling everyone, stalking and telling people and other family members to come over and have a barbecue at that location so they could like make fun of me because they're like, there's a woman here and I've never met her before and she's homeless just like us, but like if we make fun of her then we might feel better about ourselves. Yeah, it's insane. But I was like wondering, why is everyone so crazy here? It's legitimately because they are stealing land and they're telling everyone it's their stuff and they're lying and making up the documentation to say that, yeah, these guys signed it and said it was theirs and it said it was fine. And I was like, are you insane? And I just realized they are. They were trying to cover up. A lot of them were trying to cover up for them. A lot of them were trying to hide it, but yeah, again, if a person lies about something, it's not gonna continue to work because people will find out that they're lying and they're taking everyone around them for idiots. And unfortunately, people aren't actually that stupid. Like, I don't think there's a bunch of idiots walking around doing that kind of stuff. I think a lot of people can tell it's not okay and it's wrong. There's a few people who want to support those things because they're benefiting of it. That's what they think, right? I mean, that's why they're called poor people. Like, oh, you poor thing. Like, you think it's gonna actually help you and think that like that's actually gonna work, and you can just have a quick shortcut way to like success and wealth, and everyone's gonna love you for doing that one thing. Your name is gonna be spread far and wide. That kind of stuff. Yeah. And also, a lot of people have been telling me that I have narcissistic personality disorder, and ironically, they were the ones who actually suffer from the personality disorder, but that's actually a hallmark of that disorder is that they continuously think that it's not them, it's somebody else with the disorder, saying like, oh, you're the one who's superficial, and you're the one who like only cares about other people, and you're the one for like the stuff they have, and you're the one who doesn't want to be friends with anyone unless they're super rich and wealthy, or who can get you to be a super rich and wealthy person. Yeah, I read some comments online and they were like saying some pretty awful things to some people who were like, why are you even famous? Like, why are you making that much money? You can't even help me. Like, who are you to me? And I'm like, these are people that nobody knows. Like, their names are like only known by their family members and if they have any friends, and I doubt they do. They don't even work or anything. I'm pretty sure like that is stereotypically homeless, but I've also noticed even legal property owners aren't exempt from this type of behavior. Just because somebody owns property doesn't make them a good person. Again, with the narcissistic personality disorder, I mean, I understand why some people would want to support those types of people, because then they are seen as good people, right? And they will receive less problems, or people will chastise them less for doing things that are socially unacceptable, right? So, like, people with narcissistic personality disorder are like, yeah, that guy has a lot of money, so he's a good guy. And a lot of people think like, oh yeah, he drives a better car, so he's in a better position. He's like, you should be like that guy, like drive nice cars and like, you know, spend a lot more money, like have more money in your bank account. That's a good guy. Yeah, that's a lot of people, like that's how they think. And I didn't know this at the time, but a lot of people that I've come across actually thought that like I didn't know what people were like, and I didn't know like how to navigate things, and I didn't know that like I didn't have any preferences. I didn't know how to dress myself. I didn't know how to do any of that. They kept on telling me this. They're like, you don't know how to do anything, do you? Oh my god, like why can't you just like be normal and stuff? And I'm like, I was working and I was going to school and I was paying off my school loans, and I was actually still trying to get out of that situation, finding a place to live on my own and all that kind of stuff, with no actual financial help from anyone that I knew, other than the allocated stipends given by the government for people who are qualified for those stipends, which is very, very low income people, like below the poverty line. And even then, people who lived above the poverty line thought that I didn't deserve it, because they're like, why do you get free money? I don't get free money. That's not fair. And I'm like, you don't even need it. Like, you make this much amount a year, or you are actually given this much amount of a year, and that's infinitely more than how much I'm receiving. So I don't understand why you even think that it's not fair for me to do that, unless you think I just don't deserve anything. because you're a racist person and you think nobody deserves anything. Ironically, they were also homeless. Again, it's almost as if they're trying to pit people against each other so nobody gets along and nobody actually succeeds and gets out of this. And it's like, why would any person, any human being want that for another human being? Right? Again, this is considered a severe mental illness or mental disorders. Some of them are criminals. The only difference is criminal people know that it's not okay. They know that, not that they don't have mental health problems, like that's a different thing, but like criminals know it's not okay. Criminals know that if they do that, it's gonna hurt somebody, but they don't care. Honestly, like it's for their own selfish gain, and it doesn't cause them to lose relationships or be dysfunctional. Like they're able to maintain relationships, they know how to be a friend, they know how to do things, they know how to maintain social networks and maintain their social life, but they do things like that, illegal activities that may harm other people for their own benefit or out of some other reason, right? I mean, again, there's a lot of problems with the legal system, and I don't want to get into that right now, but like, yeah, that's like that's the gist of it. That's the difference between criminals and mentally ill. Mentally ill people, like, they're convinced what they're doing is right and good. With criminals, they know it's not okay. They're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing is not okay. Yeah, I know I'm a piece of shit. What are you expecting me to do out of it? Or something like that. Like, what are you expecting from me? Whereas people with mental illness are like, no, I'm a good person. Just, you don't understand. Or like, what I'm doing is good. Look, I'm helping everyone. That's the difference.